I wanted to create this video to possibly help other folks that might need to service this Hammond organ. Well, there's a lot of information out there on the older B, M, and 8000 series. I was unable to find any information on the XT series, which this is. I originally had a Hammond Aurora Classic, which was an analog-based organ. This XT series is a digital platform with MIDI and the ability to upgrade via a floppy disk drive. I need to open up this organ for 3 reasons. The first is I have a sticking key. The second is I want to change out the floppy drive to a USB drive. And the third is there's a backup battery that is reading very low here that will need to be replaced. The model number of this organ is an xt172 with a serial number of 98, meaning that it was probably made in 1998 or early 2000. Let's begin by removing the back cover to the organ. This will expose the metal enclosure where all the electronics are located. To remove the metal enclosure, the top of the organ and the roll cover will need to be removed. With the cover removed, we gain access to many of the subassemblies that are built within this organ. Disk drive, main power supply, main logic board, rhythm unit, display board are all accessible at this level. In this view, we are looking at the circuit boards where all of the drawbars are mounted, as well as the display and display interface, which is directly above that. Hammond provided a way to add features to the organ via a floppy disk. I found online a product that emulates the floppy drive and upgrades the feature's input hardware using a thumb drive. The product was great to install, and they provide software to image my current floppies and place them on a thumb drive. A very good company. When working on the Hammond organ, you need to get to the number of layers. You do this by removing key screws that are placed. You remove this one, keep this one. On the other side, the same thing. Remove this screw, keep this one, and this whole assembly will fold back, allowing for easier service. I want to address the replacement of the 2032 battery that I surprisingly found on the logic board of this Hammond. The 2032 in my organ, being over 20 years old, read about 0.5 volt. It wasn't 0, but 0.5 volt is certainly not 3. So I wanted to make an adapter, and for fear that I would drop RAM out completely here, I made an adapter with 2 1.5 volt batteries in series, one of which is tied to ground, the other of which provided 3 volts to the top of the button cell holder while I pulled out this bad battery. Maybe you don't have to do this, but in fear of losing serial number or possibly other things, I wanted to make sure that I always had some type of voltage on the RAM circuit, and this seemed to be a nice way to get around the problem. In this view, you see the emulator that I've replaced where the floppy drive was located. It's a direct plug and play. The circuitry next to it is the driver board assembly. You really don't need to make any changes to that. Strictly plug the connectors in and it functions. In this view, you see a portion of the organ folded back, exposing the drawbar PC boards and assemblies. This is very helpful when you need to service the different layers of the organ. With the 2 upper sections of the organ folded back, you are able to get in and service the top manual, but in addition, you have access to other electronic circuit boards that are in the top of the organ. In my case, I need to look at this level because of my G-sharp key that was sticking. If you look very closely here, you will notice the G-sharp key is slightly pushed down, causing it to stick. By simply raising that we fixed the problem. So in summary, we've replaced the old 3.5-inch floppy with the USB thumb drive. Probably one of the best enhancements you can do to this organ, because now you can record to a thumb drive as well as add features. We've replaced the sticking key, a little bit hard to see here, but that was a simple fix. And lastly, we've replaced the RAM backup with a fresh 2032 battery. Nice fresh 3-volt lithium battery, and we are now ready to begin the button-up process. The top of the organ is held in place by 5 screws. Replace those and secure the top to the organ. So the next step is to replace the roll cover. Take the roll cover, slide it into each one of the channels on each side of the organ, and replace the stops. Last step is to resecure the rear cover. 16 screws, move the organ back, and get ready to play.